Northeast Ohio shut down by the first major blizzard of the new year. Rush hour traffic at a standstill on some of our major highways. We'll have a live report along with a long list of cancellations. And Dick says more snow is on the way, and on the local sports scene, Jim has the stories of a big trade and a firing. News Center 8 is next. Stay with us.
News Center 8 is next with those stories and a report tonight from Neil Zerker as the Ohio reporter checks hat styles in blizzard-belted Greater Cleveland. WJKW-TV8, Cleveland.
Good evening. Judd's off tonight. I'm Tim Taylor. Here's winning is a full-blown blizzard. Our city cam reporter Jeff Maynor is out in it live on battered Interstate 77 with a live report. Jeff?
Well, you can see traffic is barely moving down there. We're looking at I-77 northbound toward the city. At the off-ramp here on Broadway, the ramp is barely moving at all. A lot of cars having trouble getting up that ramp, and the northbound traffic into the city is moving along very slowly, as you can see, but there are cars up ahead that are stalled, and people get to move a little bit and then have to stop. Now, southbound has just cleared out. We've been here for about 20-25 minutes, and it's just now that the southbound traffic has started to move on I-77. Part of this roadway is closed. Traffic is bumper to bumper, downtown, southbound, all the way into Summit County. As you see here, it's starting to ease up on the southbound. Now, to try to loosen the jam, police have closed many of the I-77 on-ramps. 77 northbound, as you can see, is the bigger problem right now, and it's entirely shut down from the Route 21 split in Summit County all the way to the Cuyahoga County line. As you can see here, it's all but shut down, though traffic is on it and barely moving. We heard a radio call from a policeman who was on I-77 a while ago. He said he'd been out here 3 hours and ran out of gas, and he was calling, asking for somebody to get some gasoline to him. If you have to go out tonight, make sure that you've got a full tank of gasoline in your car. If you don't and you get stuck someplace, you're going to get mighty cold. Temperatures are going to be down below zero. If you get stuck and you're running the engine to keep warm, also remember to keep a window ventilated so that fumes don't get into the car. Now, we're going to stay right here on I-77, and I hope very soon we'll have a better picture to show you of traffic moving along here. This is Jeff Maynor, live with the city cam on the Broadway overpass on I-77.
I was in that mess coming in today, and it continues to be just awful tonight. You know, I can remember that every big snowstorm that's crippled this town since 1950. But experience sure doesn't make it any easier. A blizzard has and continues to be the big problem today. In fact, those fierce winds off the lakefront filed snow more than 2 feet deep on the Innerbelt curve this afternoon. A tractor trailer bogged down in deep drifts, jackknifed across the roadway, completely shutting down the southbound lanes for more than an hour. Traffic was backed up along the shoreway for miles and miles. And I know where you can find lots of frozen beef tonight. A Fazio's truck got stuck on Clark Avenue at West 53rd as it tried to rock out of the snow. Its 30,000-pound load of beef shifted, and that trailer went tumbling over onto a hardware store. At last report, the truck was still there. Also still here, the gale force winds that threatened downtown buildings all day long today. The wind blowing out a window at the East Ohio Gas Company, and as a workman tried to put his ladder up to cover it, the winds picked up a nearby barrel and a 100-pound bag of cement. They all went crashing through a second large window pane, and luckily no one was hurt. Well, the weather was just too much for Hopkins Airport crews today. Hopkins is closed until tomorrow morning. Our Bob Franken was out there in the bitter cold all day long as those decisions were being made. Bob?
Well, believe me, Tim, with all the problems they had at Hopkins the last time around, they tried very hard to stay open today. Even though some of their planes were able to get in and out for a while, more and more travelers ended up waiting. Many of them had been stuck overnight. They had been able to keep some runways open through the morning, but it was a losing battle. The bitter wind and snow reduced visibility to zero this afternoon. Not only were the planes at a standstill, but everything was.
This is the worst blizzard I've ever seen in my experience at the airport, and we just can't function at all.
The decisions were being made in the Airport Operations Center, where they were coordinating workers and equipment that had been operating around the clock.
What's your feeling after closing? Okay, we don't want to bring any more aircraft out from the gates, though, do we, in this kind of situation?
The new ports director was balancing her intense desire to keep Hopkins open this time with the realities of an impossible situation. We were with her in operations this afternoon when she finally gave in to the weather.
We're going to close until 5 o'clock.
Why?
So that all of our equipment can get out there and move snow and not have to worry about having problems of dodging and avoiding the aircraft.
So the weather won, which meant that already weary travelers had to wait some more.
No, don't know how late we're going to be delayed. Okay, thank you.
Right now, they don't really know when flights will resume. Hopkins Airport is officially closed until tomorrow morning. But, Tim, it could be a lot longer than that.
Blizzard is kind of a terrifying word, especially when you're caught out in the traffic or out at the airport. Let's find out now if we can expect any kind of relief. Go to Dick Goddard. Dick?
Tim, it is going to be slow in coming now. You may remember a year ago this Monday, we had our first blizzard of the year, and we had nothing last year. I don't think to compare quite with this one. 7 degrees at Hopkins right now. To have a blizzard, you have to have a temperature below 20, winds hitting 35 miles an hour, and we have been in that category all day long. Highest snow depth I've seen from our Woolly Bear reporters, Mr. Dixon in Novelty in Geauga County has 19 inches on the ground. Wind whistling in out of the west, at times above 40 miles an hour. We've had a wind chill factor today right around 30 to 40 below zero. Anywhere tonight, 2 to 4 inches of new snow within that snow belt east of the city. You could have locally 6 to 12. Complete story a bit later.
Dick, when you're coping with a brutal snowstorm, it's bad enough, but when your power is knocked out, taking your heat with it, that's even worse. Power lines snapped all over the metropolitan area today. Back with him again. We realized that thousands of...
Just barely, Tim. It's windy up on this overpass on Broadway over I-77. This is as bad a traffic as I've ever seen in Cleveland, living here 6 years. It's barely moving down there. The northbound, or rather the southbound lanes out of town now are hardly moving at all. It's jammed up again. A while back when we first checked in, traffic was moving along the northbound side. As you see now, it's hardly moving at all. Moving to the right, that's southbound traffic we looked at first. Looking northbound now into the city, toward the city, traffic at a standstill, and off on the off-ramps, 2 or 3 cars just stopped, disabled, not moving at all. And Lordy, I don't know how they're going to get a tow truck in here to move these cars. Other freeways are in similar conditions, and you know, people who have cars that aren't running well or are low on gas and are going to run out of gas, they're going to get stuck, and it's going to take a long time to get to people who are stranded. So if your car's not running well, if you don't have a full tank of gas, don't under any circumstances go out in this weather. And if you have to go out, stay off the freeways, particularly I-77, because as you see, it just isn't moving. The other roads are moving. Broadway here is moving along, but I-77 is near at a standstill. Jeff Maynard, live with a city cam, Broadway over I-77.
Afraid that's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. We'll keep you posted. Coming up, a story for all you guys who refuse to wear a hat no matter what. You might want to change your mind, or your hat. Stay with us as News Center 8 continues.
Tim summed it up during our brief interlude. He said the driving conditions today probably are worse than at any time last year. I think I'll go along with that. High of 23, but that came very early today. We now have gone to 7 degrees officially at Hopkins and here in the city of Cleveland, where we have about 5 inches of snow, but it is being blown about, very hard to measure. Humidity 95%, the barometer 2970, and that is very slowly rising. Wind westerly tending towards northwest from time to time, 21 to 37. Precipitation liquid content of the 7 inches, 0.48. Air pollution 19 today and 35, the forecast there tomorrow. And again, 23 the high, 7 the low. A year ago, 17 and 10. Winds generally out of the west and within the snow belt east of the city now. At Geauga, in Geauga County at Novelty, Rolf Dixon reported they had 19 inches on the ground, and that was within the last couple of hours. 7 inches again at Hopkins. Now, these are the temperatures currently. You see how low we have gone. 4 degrees at Akron Canton, 2 at Mansfield. From Medina County, J.A. Fry, a good name for a man who lives in River Styx, reported in that Medina community they had 11 inches of snow on the ground. And within northern Ohio, the range seems to be from about 5 inches all the way up to 19. 6 inches at Mansfield, a little bit above that in the Akron-Canton area. At 11 o'clock, I'll have a thorough rundown on how much snow has accumulated. Right. Blizzard conditions 0 to 5 below. Snow accumulations as indicated, and for tomorrow, Tuesday, we'll begin to climb out slowly. Some flurries and a few more squalls left over. Very windy, cold, high 10 above. Tomorrow night, around 0 to 10 below. Wednesday, a variable sky, chance of a flurry, and 16. Thursday, cloudy, some light snow developing, the high 20. Friday, cloudy flurries, 15. And to finish a cold week, Saturday, variable skies, flurry, and a high of about 18.